One day, Terence the tractor was feeling glum. "What's the matter?" asked Henry. "The rain had made my field muddy," replied Terence, "and I can't plow it until it's clean again." "Pah! Who cares about plowing?" said Duncan. "Your field is dumb." "Yeah," agreed Edward. "I mean, come on, Terence. You're too ugly to plow in the fields anyway." The engines were shocked. "Edward," said Ivanhoe, "what a horrid thing to say." "Well, it's true," said Edward. "True, my smokebox," said Gordon crossly. "You're just being rude, Edward." "Gordon's right," agreed Harold. "Terence is a really useful tractor, so you need to show him some respect, Edward. You too, Duncan." "Whatever," said Duncan. "Come on, Edward, let's get out of here." And Edward followed Duncan. Later, the engines were having a meeting around a turntable. "I just can't believe Edward's behavior," said Wilbert. "It's absolutely disgraceful," said Sir Handel. "Disgusting," added Gordon. "Despicable," concluded Rheneas. "It just doesn't seem to add up," agreed Bertie. "I mean, I never thought that Edward was a mean engine." "And I think Duncan is behind of all this," said Bill. "You may have a point, Bill," agreed Ben. "Ever since those two became friends, Edward has been acting differently to everyone else." "Edward was never like this before," agreed Lady. "I'll see if I can talk to him." "No, Lady," said Ivanhoe. "I can talk to Edward." "And I'm going to talk to Duncan," added Skarloey. "If he's going to listen to an engine, it's gonna be me." "And I'm going to find Terence," said Henry. "Edward was pretty harsh to him. I better make sure that he's okay." And Henry left. "Perhaps we should get back to work," said Peter Sam. "Sir Topham Hatt won't like it if we abandon our jobs." "Indeed I won't," said a voice. There, standing next to Bill and Ben, was Sir Topham Hatt himself. "I appreciate your concern for Edward, and I don't mean to interrupt, but Peter Sam was right. You do have work to do." And so, the engines began to leave the sheds at once. Duncan was getting coal when Skarloey found him. "I don't like what you're doing, Duncan," he said. "What? Filling up on coal?" Duncan snapped. "Being mean to everyone," replied Skarloey. "You're creating a negative atmosphere. And stay away from Edward. You're a bad influence on him." "Pah! Who do you think you are? His father?" asked Duncan. "His friend," said Skarloey. "Some friend," said Duncan. "He can control his life, and he can pick someone who she associate with and who he can't. I'll have you know, Edward enjoys my company." "Your bad behavior is making Edward being mean to people, and I don't like it," said Skarloey. "You want me to change, and Edward to act differently?" said Duncan. "This is his problem, not mine, and definitely not yours." Before Skarloey can say another word, Duncan popped away. Meanwhile, Ivanhoe was talking to Edward at Brendam Docks. "Edward," said Ivanhoe, "I don't think it's a good idea for you to hang around with Duncan anymore." "Yeah," replied Edward snootily. "Why not?" "Because Duncan is being rude to everyone," said Ivanhoe, "and his attitude is rubbing on you. You're being rude just like him." What you said to Terence was really rude. What do you care, Ivanhoe? Said Edward. You're not him. No, replied Ivanhoe, whether right or wrong. Honesty isn't wrong, said Edward. Terence is stupid, and you know it. He is not, snapped Ivanhoe. You two are making fun of him to make yourself look better, but you're becoming worse by the day. This isn't who you are, Edward, said Ivanhoe. But Duncan has turned you into something you're not. We all want the real Edward back. And Ivanhoe steamed away. Pah! Said Edward, and he left Brendam Docks. Then Edward pushed Molly off the track. What was that for? Exclaimed Molly. Shut up, Molly, snapped Edward. No one likes you. And Molly began to cry.